Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's Jack with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I'm still on that how to work out at home without equipment kick. Because I know everybody's in a similar situation here. And we're using something that I'm pretty sure just about everybody can get their hands on. So stick around for it. But before we get into that, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday, I'm putting out videos on how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injury, and overall optimize your performance as a human being. And it doesn't get much cooler than that. So go ahead and click that button. Ready? Let's get into it. Alright guys, like I said, we're still on that how to work out at home without equipment kick. Because I know a lot of us are all in quarantine at this point and pretty much staying home doing our best we can to keep the workout and those strength gains going. So today's session is a complete session, full body, of how to gain strength using a simple piece of equipment, which I'll show you in 1 second. Last week we talked about how to use a bed sheet, a nice common household item, to turn it into a full workout. So if you didn't check that out already, make sure you go ahead and click this link up here so that you can watch that video as well and get some more ideas of how to keep your workouts going at home and how to maintain your strength at home. This week, we're looking at how to gain strength or how to maintain that strength using one simple item that pretty much everybody probably has laying around somewhere, at least spare, and there's multiple ways we can do this, but it's gonna be this. A simple piece of cardboard. So one piece of cardboard that you could fit both your feet on, and we're going to turn it into a nice full body workout here. Now if you don't have a piece of cardboard and some carpet, you can also use hardwood floor and socks for these. You can also use a towel on hardwood floors if you have hardwood floors. If you're on carpet, paper plates will work well, a plastic plate if you have, or anything that's going to slide across that carpet well. But cardboard seems to work really nicely, and if you have an old box laying around in the recycling bin right now, I know you probably got a box of cereal in the cupboard. Dump that cereal out, flatten that box out, and you're ready to go. Ready? Let's get into these 10 exercises here. Exercise number 1, a good old knee tuck. So what we're going to be doing for this one is making sure that we're placing both feet on the center of the piece of cardboard, plate, whatever you're using here. We want to set up in a nice tall plank position. So before I ever lift my knees from the floor, I want to have those feet on the cardboard in the center. I want to make sure that my shoulders are over my wrist and I'm rotating externally at the elbow, so the elbow points back toward my body, locking my shoulder in a good position. My shoulder blades should be rolled down and back some to make sure that I'm keeping my scapula engaged on my upper back. From there, my arms are the base here. My arms are the anchor that I really want to keep solidified. So I don't want that structure to change at all. My fingertips are facing forward, wrist under the shoulder, elbows point back toward the body. Once I have that base set, my abs are engaging so that I feel a nice neutral position of the spinal column through the lumbar range and even in that mid-thoracic range, low thoracic range. And from there, as soon as I pull up into that full plank position, I want to make sure that my glutes are engaging nice and tight in that full extension here. So I'm really flexing quads, glutes, abs, and the musculature of the upper back and armpit to keep a nice solid position. Now from here, what I want to do is draw both knees together at the same time toward the chest. And I want to feel my hip flexors working to actually drive those knees toward the chest, making sure that I'm not shifting the position of my upper body. So I'm using the friction of the floor here with all these exercises, and I'm dragging across the carpet, pulling those knees toward the chest, making sure I'm not using the arms to pull in, that it is the hip flexors that are drawing in and pulling me into a good position. Once those knees are tucked, I want to extend back out to the starting position we began in. So once again, locking out the quads, the glutes, making sure we have a nice solid structure and a nice straight line really from the ankle through the knee, through the hip, all the way into the shoulder. So there's no dips and curvatures there in the lumbar spine or any sagging going on there. Exercise number 2, This is what I call the glider GHD. And if you don't know what a GHD is, it's a glute and ham destroyer. So what we're gonna do is start with our feet so that our heels are in the middle of the glider here, our piece of cardboard. We're gonna be laying on our back with our heels close to our butt as much as possible here. Feet about hips distance apart on that glider if you're able to put them. If not, it's okay if they're a little closer together for that. Not gonna matter as much, that's okay. So we're starting off with an actual glute bridge here. So we want the shoulder blades rolled down and back. I actually want you to pull your lumbar spine flat to the floor. The abdomen are already engaging here. And then we're gonna fully extend the hips up so that the glutes are engaging to their max. Now when we extend those hips up, we also wanna be driving the knees wide so that we're making sure we're incorporating all three gluteals. So we're getting full stability at the pelvis from those glutes. We have the abs engaged, so we have a nice neutral spinal column there as well. Once we have that bridged position, what we're gonna do is start to extend the knees out so the legs begin to straighten. And I want you to go as far as you can out, maintaining the height of the hips. So we shouldn't feel your hips drop or the glutes disengage, trying to stabilize the position from the hip flexors. We want the glutes to stay engaged. We want the full hip height. If you can maintain it out to a fully extended leg, that's the optimal goal. If you feel like you're gonna lose it, that's about where you wanna stop, because we want you to be able to maintain tension through the position, through the core. Exercise number 3, the chest fly push-up. So what we're gonna be doing is combining a chest fly with a push-up on this one. And we're gonna be starting in the tall plank position once again with one hand on our glider, on our sliding piece of cardboard, whatever it is again. So one hand on the cardboard, tall plank position. So we're gonna set up just like we did for the knee tucks here. Shoulders rolled down and back, wrist below the shoulder, making sure that the elbow is rotating toward the body. I want that torque, that's important. So I'm keeping the elbows rotated toward the body, armpit tight in that position. Once the shoulders are set, the hands are set well, we wanna make sure that we engage the abdomen next before ever picking up the legs. And then finally from there, taking my feet out into a full tall plank position, tight glutes, tight quads, and I'm keeping the tension through the quads, through the glutes, in the abdomen, and all the way up into those shoulders so that my core is fully connected here. Now I'm gonna start this movement by sliding the slider out to a point where when I go into the bottom of the push-up, my elbows are gonna be at about a 90-degree angle bending. I still want my elbow to be about 30 to 45 degrees down from the shoulder so that it's in toward my rib cage, making sure that the elbows aren't flaring high and wide up toward the head. That's a big sign and show that we're lacking instability at the shoulder or that I set up improperly. So we wanna make sure that we go through that setup properly, and we want to make sure that we want to take our time to get everything engaged correctly. Once I am down in the bottom position where I've hit the bottom push-up position, I'm going to press back up, and as I'm pressing back up, I want to glide back in where the hands meet together in that tall plank position. So you might come together fully with the hands narrow in front of the chest on that, and that is where we get the combination of a chest fly and a push-up with the slider here. Exercise number 4, V-tucks. On this one, it's very similar to our knee tucks in the very first position again. So we're setting up in that tall plank position. And if by now you guys aren't getting it, there's a lot of core work in what we're doing here, a lot of shoulder work that's gonna be done here. So you shouldn't be worried about missing out on any of that because it's all getting incorporated. But we wanna set that tall plank position again. So both feet on the glider. We're gonna go ahead and roll those shoulder blades down and back, making sure that our base is set well, those hands, elbows rotated in toward the body. We've got torque through the floor so that we have a good solid base. The arms don't move, everything else is gonna be moving here below that because that is our structure we're working off of. Once the arms and shoulders are set, engage the abdomen, engage the glutes and quads so you're fully extended out in a plank position. You're gonna start the movement with a regular knee tuck, so we wanna draw the knees to the chest here using the hip flexors. But this time when we extend out, we want to actually extend out to one side. So we're extending our body out to one side, trying to make a straight line, not going so far that our body's twisting and bending, but making a straight line out to the side and then tucking into the center once again, drawing those hip flexors, knee to chest in the middle, and then pushing out to the other side here. Here we're working a little bit more with the obliques because we're going side to side here, and even glute med might get a little bit more engagement in this position as well when we're pushing out at an angle versus directly down the center. So that shift side to side is the only change compared to our regular knee tuck. Exercise number 5, the body saw. So in the body saw, we're actually going to be setting up in a low plank position. So for this one, we're going to be down on the forearms with the forearms parallel to one another. A common mistake in the setup for a low plank is that the hands come and meet one another in the middle, and we're in a very unstable position for the shoulders overall. So we want to make sure that we are keeping those forearms parallel to one another with the thumbs pointing up toward the ceiling. I recommend making a blade. So you're literally driving a strict blade into the floor from each of the forearms there. You could even go as far as the wrist slightly being outside the elbow when you're setting up the shoulders in this position. Our shoulders, once again, are our base here, so we want to make sure they're set well. Shoulder blades are rolled down and back, and you're going to start with the shoulder over the elbow. Okay, shoulder over the elbow, similar to that same setup in the tall plank with the shoulder over the wrist. All right, from that position, once the shoulders are set, abdomen engaged, making sure we're keeping a nice neutral spinal column, and immediately going into a solid low plank position with the quads and glutes engaging, straight line from the ankle through the hip into the shoulder once again. Even the neck in that neutral position should be something that we're aware of, making sure we're not shrugging the shoulders or tucking our neck back and over engaging there. So from there, once we have that low plank set, what I want to do is actually pull my elbows toward my rib cage, thinking of using the musculature at the back of my armpit and on the rib cage here. And then from there, I'm actually pressing back into the low plank position, and maybe even slightly further where the elbows will pass a little bit higher than the shoulder height on this body saw. Exercise number 6, the side saw. So for this one, we're actually going to be setting up in a low full side plank position. So both feet, one on top of the other, stacked. So we're making sure that the legs are in a good alignment there. I also want to get a good shoulder set on this one as well, because that is our anchor and our base once again. So from the forearm, making that blade where the fingers point out forward, I'm going to set that position so that I feel the musculature of the armpit engaging. This can be a very tough thing for people to do. So if you have something to actually pull against, you can kind of pull the elbow back, and that might help engage there. Or you could even try putting so the fingertips point up toward the head, so we're able to feel once again that musculature at the back of the armpit engaging, showing that we have a good stable shoulder position. We don't want to feel it at the front of the shoulder. We want to feel our back side of our body and just the overall side of our body engaging to set that shoulder position. Once I have that set, I want to make sure I have a nice straight line from my head through to my hips at this point and all the way to the ankle. So I'm making sure everything is in alignment. It's a full side plank here, and I want to feel the musculature of my back and side body engaging just to get into that full side plank position. I shouldn't feel the shoulder jamming up into my neck. I shouldn't feel the shoulder jamming up into the AC joint at all. It's all controlled by the musculature along the underside of my body there. Now once I have that side plank set with tight butt, tight quads, a nice alignment with the core engaged, I want to think of drawing my armpit or drawing my forearm to my hip. And it's not going to be a very big movement. It's going to be a very small little bit of a lift from the obliques here, where we're bringing the hips higher than the shoulders in this position. And then I'm going to relax back down into that low side plank position from there. Exercise number 7, the bear crawl pull through. So for this one, we're going to be setting up in a bear crawl position. If you can imagine, this is an all fours position. We want the hands and shoulders, we'll set those first. Once again, it's usually easy to build from the top down from here. So I want to once again set up like a tall plank with this bear crawl position, with my wrist below my shoulders, the elbows rotating in toward my body so that I have external rotation at the shoulder, and the shoulder blades rolled down and back. I should feel that musculature engaging at the armpit once again. Now one hand here will be on our glider, so we want to make sure that that's still engaged appropriately with that hand on the glider on the cardboard. Now from the core, we're going to engage the abdomen just like we did in the plank, working our way down, making sure that the abs are engaged before I ever pick my knees up from the floor. My toes are going to be tucked under in extension, my knees should be at 90 degrees, and my hips should be at 90 degrees here. So we're setting up a nice 90-degree position. My knees can actually pull open away from one another a little bit, so I am engaging more of the gluteals. A lot of times, if I'm not using my gluteals here with a slight posterior pelvic tilt, most people will over-engage from the hip flexors, and that's overriding all the other work that we're going to be doing here. I want you to tuck the tail a little bit, drive the knees wide, almost like we're doing a squat or a glute bridge, and you're going to feel that in the gluteals more than the hip flexors. Now I'm taking that hand with the glider, with that cardboard, and I'm going to slide it through. I want to thread the needle through the other side, reaching as far as I can, rotating my torso, maintaining that nice core structure and stability. From there, I'm going to pull it back through into my regular bear crawl position with which we started within. Exercise number 8, the dead leg drag. So on this one, once again, working from a tall plank position, setting it so that we have the wrist below the shoulder, elbows rotated in toward the body, a nice stable shoulder blades roll down and back, armpits are engaged. This goal here is to work the lats and the musculature of the other underside of the arm here. So what we're going to be doing is actually keeping a tall plank position as we walk with our hands. Now we can walk by pulling ourselves the whole time and then turning around, or you can literally go forward and backwards with this one, whichever you choose. If you want to focus more on the lats and the pull of the movement, then I suggest actually just doing the pull and not actually pushing back. But either way, we want to maintain a nice stiff plank position. We've set the shoulders well, we engage the abdomen, and then we step back with the glutes engaged and quads engaged. A nice neutral spinal column from the shoulder through the hip into the ankle. And if it's not sounding like a broken record by now, and I'm doing something wrong. So this is our setup each time. We pretty much want to feel shoulder blades engaged, abs engaged, glutes engaged, and then we'll know that our core is controlled well in this position. Exercise number 9, alternating lunges. So I'm going to be starting with one foot on the glider here on the disc, making sure that I'm standing up in a good position, nice tall position, quads engaged, glutes engaged, abs engaged, shoulder blades rolled down and back. I'm going to start with an actual side lunge. So I want to reach the leg out that's on the glider, but I want to make sure that I'm maintaining the majority of my weight over the leg that's not on the glider. My knees should be opening up toward my small toes as I reach that leg out. And I want to make sure that I keep that leg stiff and engaged so the quads are engaging well. You might feel your adductors working some on this, but we don't want to overload them. It's not that I'm trying to drag that piece of cardboard back from the leg that's on it. It's that I'm trying to stand back up from the leg that's not on the cardboard, and I'm simply gliding that piece of cardboard back. So the majority of the weight, like I said, is on the leg that's not on the cardboard. Once I perform that side lunge and bring it back into my standing position, then I'm going to slide it back to a point where both legs are extended. I have a nice triangle position, glutes are engaging, and then from there I'm able to lower right down to the bottom position of a lunge with both knees in a 90-degree angle. 90 degrees out front at the knee and hip, and then in the back we're going 90 degrees at the knee bent below. I want to stand back up, once again relying mainly on the leg that's not on the glider to actually perform the majority of this stand and drag that glider back into the neutral position where I started once again. And last but not least, exercise number 10, the dolphin. So we're going to be setting up in the low plank position once again, kind of similar to our body saw position. So I want those forearms parallel to one another, those blades of the forearms down. And I want to make sure that they're staying in that position with the shoulder blades rolled down and back, shoulder right over top of the elbow. From there, abs engaged, extending out so that the glutes and quads are engaged, and I have a nice neutral spinal column with a straight line from the shoulder through the hip into the ankle. Once I have this position, I'm going to be performing a pike. So I want to be drawing my elbows to my thighs is what I think about when I do it. My hips are gonna go as high as I can. My hip flexors are gonna be working to pull into that high hip position, and then I'm gonna be pushing back into that low plank position. All right guys, there you have it. 10 exercises that you could be performing at home right now with a piece of cardboard. Paper plate, plastic plate, socks on hardwood, whatever it is that you're using, whatever surface that you have that you need to work with, you can make it happen. If you guys like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share it with a friend, because you know we're all stuck at home right now in quarantine, feeling like castaway. And if you guys have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday, I'm putting out videos on resolving aches and pains, preventing injury, and overall, helping you optimize your performance. And it really doesn't get much cooler than that. So click it. I want to thank you guys for watching today. I'll see you next time.